Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'll be altering this Dollar Tree snowman. But first, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and like this video and share it if you think you know someone who may like this video also. So here we go. First, I took all of the pieces of the snowman apart, and I am using two of them. They are just held together with plastic jump rings. And now I'm just taking the embellishments off, and I don't know what kind of glue they used on these snowmen, but they were pretty hard to get off. And then I'm just going to fix up the tinsel on it. Later on I do add more tinsel just to fill it in a little more. I will be adding my own face to this one. I don't like that paper that's on there, and this is where I had trouble getting the glue off. I eventually heated it up with my heat gun and it came right off. I'm trying not to cut the tinsel apart. I also take those tiny little black eyes off because I'm going to use the bigger ones for his eyes. So every year when Dollar Tree puts out these tinsel items, I normally buy them just for the frames, and I take them apart and take the tinsel off. And there I was showing you I have a bag that has this leftover tinsel from all the other pieces that I've had over the years. And I also showed you there that you can buy tinsel. I think that's Walmart tinsel that you put on a Christmas tree that you could use to wrap around this also. But I thought for this one, I'm just going to use this tinsel since it matches. So I'm just going to continue to do this to all of the pieces. I thought this would be a good time to let you know I have other social media pages. I have a Facebook page and a group called Bees Crafty Community. It's a private group. None of your information gets shared in that group. So if you'd like to go over and join that page, please feel free to. I will have the links down below. I also have a Pinterest and Instagram page. I would love to have you follow me on those. So now I decided to take some wire and try to wire these together, and unfortunately my wire was a very soft gauge, so I didn't really like the sturdiness of it, but I wired it anyways for this piece, and I kind of wired it a lot just so it would hold together. I added some hot glue just to maybe keep it together. This was kind of an afterthought, and I end up doing this each piece. And I add a piece of tinsel around that center. So here I'm hot gluing the two pieces together, and then I decide to get some nylon thread, a rope, and a needle. Made life so much easier. And now I'm just sewing the two pieces together. And like I said, I did add hot glue too, and I do add hot glue at the end after I tie my string. And I did use nylon string so it wouldn't break. So here now, these are the pieces that I was talking about. I always buy these pieces. I pick them up every time I go when I see ones, and I take them apart and use mesh on them. So I save the tinsel, and here I'm doing this for the second half of the snowman. So here I'm taking another one apart. I'm going to add it to my second piece of the snowman. I did keep the buttons on this, or they're not buttons, they're flat back jewels, not pearls. And because that's what I wanted. In hindsight, I probably should have got out my big buttons and put buttons on instead of leaving that, but it was just easy to leave those. Plus that glue was very hard to get off. So here I'm showing you that I glued the two pieces together with the hot glue, and I sew it with the nylon thread, add some hot glue to where my knot is. It kept it a lot sturdier than the soft wire that I had. I got these lights from my friend Tammy. Thanks, Tammy. I believe you can get them on Amazon. I actually did put them in the hat. You don't need them in the hat. And when I put the extra black tinsel around my hat later on, you can't even see when it lights up the lights inside the black hat, which is a good thing because you really don't want your hat to light up. You only want the snowman to light up. I'm adding a little hot glue to the wire just to get it to stay in between. These are wired lights, so any way you do them, they will stay in that position, but they're pretty long. So here I'm closing it up and seeing how it fits, how it looks with the lights. And I decided to take my nylon thread, and here we go. I'm going to sew all the way around the snowman. You also want to make sure that you leave the battery pack on the outside of the snowman before you start sewing it in there. And then you can just tuck that in the back to hide it. So I recommend when you're sewing these together, if you choose to do this project, that you make sure that they match up perfectly. Mine didn't quite match up at the top when I got done sewing, so I had to do a little repair on that when I started working on the hat. So here I'm just going to keep sewing all the way around. This is a very easy part of this. When I get to the hat, I'm going to tie this off, and I'm going to use that little piece of white tinsel to hide where I tied it. So here I'm playing with the hat and see it didn't line up quite well. We'll fix that later. I took out some carrots that I had from Easter and these glass vase fillers from the Dollar Tree. I decided to go with blue for the mouth, but because I thought I could paint them, but then I decided later not to. I'm adding the nose and I'm using those jewels for the eyes. Then I got thinking, no, I don't want to paint these, so I'm going to pull the red ones out and use those for the mouth. And here I pulled out another one of those Dollar Tree tinsel items, and I'm taking the black off to add to my snowman hat. So here I decide before I add the tinsel, I am going to sew the hat together so it's nice and even. I decided not to add music to this video in the spots that I'm not narrating because some people don't like the music. And just wondering if you all would rather hear the silence or the music. Please leave a comment below and let me know. Once the hat has been sewn together, I am just going to add the black tinsel around and hot glue it at the end. I grabbed a buffalo check scarf that I had from last year. This I purchased at the Dollar Tree. So now I'm going to cut a piece for the hat here and decide, oh, these scissors don't work and those scissors don't work. So here I got a pair of scissors that actually worked. And I wrap it around the hat, decide that it's too wide, fold it in half, and then I'm going to hot glue it together and then hot glue it on the back of the hat. And of course fluff up the tinsel and add a poinsettia and also some of this greenery branch that I cut down and trim a little and add that behind the poinsettia instead of leaves. And I think he looks super cute, but I have to start playing with a scarf. I make fringes on it. I also added a string to the top of him so he can hang. and then decided he needed arms, and I was going to go outside and find some branches and put in there, but I remembered I had these faux branches in my stash and started fixing them up and making them his arms. I think they're absolutely adorable. I kept the leaves on them. I thought that looked a little whimsical and added a little more. I just poke these in there and attach them with a little bit of hot glue, and they stayed perfectly fine. So now I'm going to start fluffing up the scarf. I decide that it needs to be on one side and kind of looks like it's blowing in the wind. Here I'm taking a little safety pin and pinning the back of the scarf and moving it over to the right side of him and fluffing it up. So I find this little snowflake in my stash and I glue it onto the scarf to make it look like a pin. I think it's absolutely adorable, and here he is all finished and lit up by my fireplace. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please subscribe and like to my channel. Check out my other social media pages, my Etsy shop, and I hope you all have an enjoyable day. Thanks for watching.